Hey everybody, we're here at the Menominee Food Distribution. My name is Francisco. I'm a chef here on the Menominee Indian Reservation. Our goals here are to do recipes, healthy option recipes with product from the food distribution here, along with some simple techniques that maybe can help you guys out at home. Today, we're gonna do a whole wheat quesadilla from chicken breasts that are from here, some vegetables that are from here, anything else that we're gonna add into this dish. We find it locally. If we can find it locally here, you can find it locally there. So today we're gonna do a whole wheat chicken quesadilla made in a guajillo pepper sauce, served with a cauliflower lime cilantro rice. All right, so our first step here is making the sauce. We have these guajillo chiles, and these, don't be intimidated by the name. These are actually one of the most popular chiles to use in sauces in Mexican indigenous cuisines. They look like this. They're very low on the Scoville chart for spiciness, I guess. So what we're gonna do first is we have to take the seeds out, because in the sauce, you don't want to be crunching down on seeds. We're gonna take the stems off, and then we're gonna be softening them in water. So we're gonna start very simple. If you're at home, you're not used to touching peppers, wear a pair of gloves. So we're gonna take the seeds out of these. Some of these, I'm just gonna make a slit here with my knife. So you can see the seeds. So once we get these open, we're gonna put them in a little saucepan here. If you get one or two seeds in there, it's not the end of the world. So the recipe, again, we'll be posting the recipe along with the video. It depends on individual how much peppers you want to add, or if you don't really care for the spice, you can dilute it a little more. And so today I'm just going to use, I have 1, 2, 3 bigger guajillos. I have 2 bigger guajillos and 3 smaller ones. All right, so what we're going to do here, we got them de-seeded, we got them split open in our saucepan. We're going to put some water in here just to cover it. Whenever you soak things, cook things, you always use cold water. 2 reasons. Cold water heats quicker than hot water does, ironically. And it is, if you use hot water goes to a pipe and it's hot, and it picks up some of the flavor profile in that pipe that it goes through. So we're gonna go ahead and just kind of fill this up until the peppers are covered with cold water. Get on the stove, we're just gonna put on low heat. All right, so the rest of our sauce here, we got our peppers, our guajillos soaking in the cold water over there on low heat. We have our blender, so eventually we're gonna blend this all up together. So we're gonna start incorporating into the blender our other ingredients that go along with the guajillo chiles. Also quick, the guajillo chiles, I know it's might be intimidating, or people home cooks aren't used to that guajillo, and especially if you don't do a lot of Mexican cooking at home. These here I got from Guerrero's, which is a local little Mexican shop around here. You can get them at all your little local Mexican shops. It's pretty much considered like the workhorse of the chiles. They're in all the sauces. And okay, so today what we're gonna add here, these are tomatillos. These are also, people probably shy away from these. These are very tart. So we're gonna prep these, and then we're gonna add them into our blender. They have a husk on them, and these you can find at any of your local grocery stores, or if you go to Walmart, they're at Walmart. What we're gonna do first before we add them is I'm gonna put them in here, and we're gonna wash them. Because they get this husk here, there's a film that, so we're just gonna dehusk them. Don't eat your husks. If you do compost, this would be perfect for compost. So we're gonna put them in our strainer here. I'm gonna do 2 for now. I'm gonna do a tomato. We're not worrying about perfect knife cuts here. They're gonna get put into a blender. So I'm gonna cut my tomato in half. I'm gonna take the core out there, all right. And then we're gonna wash these off. Again, use cold water when you're doing this. All right, so we got everything washed off here. So we're just gonna rough chop these, cut them in half here. We're gonna add them into our blender. And they're half a tomato. What we're gonna add next is a onion. You can use white. Today we're gonna use yellow. And again, a lot of these things I gathered are from the warehouse here at the Menominee Food Distribution. Then I cut it in half down the center. Then I peel it. You notice on my cutting board is clean. I have a discard bowl over here on the side of me that I've been discarding, like the peelings and stuff in. My cutting, you always want to have your cutting board remain clean. That way it's a little safer. If it's crowded and you're trying to work with a sharp knife, there's potential there to, cut yourself. So we're just gonna rough chop these in no special way here. They're all gonna get blended up. I have one small onion, maybe medium, I would say medium onion in there. Then we're gonna add our garlic. This is purple garlic. This is what we had available. So just pop one of these out here. So we'll use one clove. Knife goes on top of the garlic, blade side out. So what I'm gonna do is take my hand, I'm gonna hit the knife, but I'm gonna hit it where the garlic is underneath it. What that's gonna do is separate the peeling from the garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit that. You're gonna feel it when it comes apart, you'll feel it. So what that does now is the peeling should come right off here. I'm gonna rough chop this. Add that to our mix here, and now our pepper should be softened enough to put it into our blender, and we'll blend it all up. Peppers, add it right to our sauce. Now I'm gonna save some of this broth just in case I need to add it to the sauce as we're making it, just to add a little more depth, I guess you would say. So all of our ingredients are in there. The last thing that I'm gonna add to this sauce is a chicken stock. You can use a vegetable stock if you're gonna make, we're gonna use chicken today, chicken breast, but if you wanted to keep it vegetarian, then you just add a vegetable stock to it, I guess. So we're gonna go ahead and blend this all together. Again, I'll have the recipe posted. I have 1 cup of chicken stock that we're gonna use today. I'm gonna pulsate it first, blend it, slowly add the chicken stock to it, and then we'll continue, we'll strain it out eventually, and then we'll continue from there. All right, now we got our sauce all blended up here in a blender. What we're gonna do next is strain it. If you don't have a strainer, you can use a colander, which is what I'm using here. The bottom kind of looks like this. This is from the food distribution as well. You can find these. So I'm gonna just pour this through here. This just makes the sauce a little more smooth and silky textured. So now I take a rubber spatula here, just kind of pushing it through. And you're still gonna get little bits in there. It's fine. And this sauce, today we're gonna use chicken breasts from the food distribution. So the chicken breasts themselves, when you prepare them, it's a white meat and it gets dry really quick. So cooking it in the sauce is gonna prevent some of that from happening, I guess. All right, so I'm just gonna discard this right into the my bowl here, our little discard bowl. And then this is our sauce. Guajillo pepper sauce. All right, so at this point, now we're gonna turn this on medium heat on the stove. We're gonna take our chicken breast as is. You don't have to cut it up. You just take it whole and you add it to the sauce and you just slow cook this for about an hour. And while we're doing that, we're gonna prep some of the other things that are gonna go along with our dish. All right, so we're gonna add our chicken breast here from the food distribution. So we're just gonna add it. There's, some pieces of fat. Those will actually just pull off with your hands if you want. You want to take a knife and cut those off. So we're just going to add this to the sauce just as is, like this. Make sure that the sauce covers it, and then throughout we're going to be flipping it, and it's going to slow cook. So as it cooks, it's going to start to pull apart. And we just let this go for about an hour on medium heat. We're just going to set our timer, and start prepping for the other parts of the meal. So while we have our chicken slow cooking over there, we're gonna start the other parts of the meal. I have a red onion here. We're gonna be julienning this red onion. So we're gonna go ahead and cut the ends off here. There's a couple different ways, I guess, people julienne an onion, but this is the way I do it. Cut it in half. So after I cut it in half, then I peel the onion. I always go down 1 layer. I don't know if you can see that. So then I have my onion that I'm going to use here. So you have your grain, your lines in an onion. So I'm gonna follow those, is what we're gonna do. You can see them there. I'm gonna follow them on. Real thin, it's called a julienne. Again, I'm tucking my fingers in. My knife is not going above my knuckle. So when I get towards the end, what I do is I flip it. And right at the end, I slow down, because that's when it gets dangerous. So I have my julienne onions. I'm gonna add them to a little bowl here. And kind of separate them with your hands a little bit. All right, so next what we're gonna do here is our lime juice. Now whenever you juice a lime or any kind of citrus, an orange, a lemon, some of them are soft already, but in a restaurant what we do is called rolling it. So we're gonna put it on a hard surface, your countertop or your cutting board, and we're gonna take our palm of our hand here and move our knife out of the way because that's dangerous, and we're gonna just roll them like this, right? So it kind of brings out some of the juice in your lime. So we're gonna roll it like this. It'll slightly soften it. Knife back on the cutting board. So we're just gonna cut a little piece off. I usually cut the ends off. So we're gonna go one big wedge like this. So I'm gonna add lime juice right to my onions here. When you add juice, I'm kind of letting it go through my fingers because if there's any seeds in there, I will catch it. So we're going to use a half a lime. When they're cut in quarters like that, they're easier to squeeze, well, for me anyway. So I have lime juice going. You're pickling a little bit. It's like an escabeche in Spanish. And then we're going to wrap this up. We're going to put this in the refrigerator and let that sit while the chicken is cooking. So today we're going to make a rice out of the cauliflower, just kind of give everybody a option, I guess. You get a cauliflower this big. So we got some little florets here, cauliflower florets. We're going to put them in a food processor. You can use a blender. If you don't have either or, you can use a knife and just kind of get them very small. Today we have a food processor, so I'm just going to rough chop these. They don't need to be any because they're going to get blended up. So we're going to break these apart, throw them in here. And then from here, we just pulsate it and blend them up. So what we're looking for is kind of a rice texture, I guess you would say. So we're going to get them real small. So we're going to use a coconut oil. It's one of the healthier fats, I guess you can use. We have a spray today, which we're also going to use for the quesadillas. So we're just going to spray it in a pan here. We're going to get this on medium heat. There we go. We're going to add our cauliflower to this. So our chicken breast is an 8-ounce chicken breast. You're probably gonna get about 2 servings out of that. So we just got this on medium heat, a little coconut oil in there. We're just gonna let this soften. Just kind of keep moving around. Just kind of treat it like rice, I guess you would say. So we're softening our cauliflower. It doesn't take long, maybe 3, 4, or 5 minutes or so, depending on the quantity that you have. So once this starts to soften, then we add our flavor profiles from here. Today we're going to be pairing it with our quesadilla. So we have cilantro here that we have. So we're going to be now when I cut my cilantro, I use my hands. I use the stem, the green, everything in there is good. So we're going to add about a tablespoon. Right, we're going to mix that in. Starting to smell good. Then right at the end, we're getting towards the end here, we're going to add our lime juice. Again, through the fingers, no seeds. We're going to use about 1/4 of a lime in there. So now I'm going to turn the heat off. But we're going to continue to mix at this point. And then once this is ready now we're going to start preparing our quesadilla. All right, so next, since we're doing a healthy version of the quesadilla, Normally I would use cheese and that would be our binder. So today what we're gonna do is use a squash blossom. So to prepare it, I'm gonna take these off. So I'm just gonna pull these off. Honestly, you can eat the whole part, but we're gonna take these off here, okay? I'm gonna cut the stem here. We're gonna cut the stem, move that aside, put that in our discard bowl. And then this here, it'll open up really nicely. So there's our blossom. We're gonna take, there's an inside part here. We're gonna take that out as well. And then we're just gonna kind of rough chop this because we're gonna saute this up in a saucepan. What this is gonna do, when you cook this, it's gonna get kind of silky. So it's gonna act as a binder, which the cheese would do. So we're gonna put that inside the quesadilla for a cheese substitution. So we're just gonna put this in a little saucepan. We're just gonna turn it on low heat. We're just gonna soften it slightly, and then we're gonna incorporate that into our quesadilla. Got this on low heat here. We're just gonna soften it just slightly. This time of year, you know, it'd be, use the squash blossoms. You can kind of see it's kind of, the texture there, it's getting kind of stringy. So that's what we're looking for. And it's pretty as easy as that. All right, so now we're gonna start building our quesadilla. So we have the whole wheat tortillas at the food distribution here. What we're gonna do, what we do in the restaurants is usually we have a flat top in a restaurant. A lot of times we use an open flame to get them nice char marks on the tortilla. So what we're gonna use today though is a saute pan. What we're gonna do is we have this coconut oil spray. We are going to spray one side of the tortilla. So the pan is getting hot. We don't add no oil, no fat to the pan. We spray the tortilla. We're gonna place the tortilla on the hot pan, one side of it. We're gonna start building one side of it. We're gonna put our squash blossom down. We're gonna put our chicken and the guajillo sauce on top of that. We're gonna fold it, and then we're gonna flip it, and we're gonna crisp both sides of it, and then we pull it out. And we're gonna start cutting it to serve. All right, so we have our tortilla, our spray, hold it upright. I usually spray over the pan. So I just do a quick spray. We lay that down now. So I have this pan on medium-high heat, and we're gonna start building. When we build it, we only build half of it because we're gonna fold it together. So we're gonna take our squash blossoms here. Just gonna add those. I know it doesn't look like much, but they will work as a binder. Trust me. We're gonna add our chicken and our guajillo sauce here. I usually do about 4 ounces per quesadilla, depending on the size of your tortilla, I guess you would say. So then, now what we're gonna do is, see how the tortilla is kind of puffing up? That's what you want. So now we can fold it, right? So now we kind of just gently press it down. So we're gonna let it brown on one side here. Move that out of the way. So this chicken's cooked about an hour. The chicken itself cooks quicker than that, but we want all the ingredients to kind of pull together. Flip that over. You're getting a nice toast on that. So we're gonna toast the other side as well. There we go. So that's what we're looking for there. We're just gonna hit this other side just a little bit more. And when I get little pieces, I'm just kind of pushing them back in. So now it's starting to crisp. So it's starting to hold together now. So we're gonna turn the heat off, and we're gonna bring this over to our cutting board. Now we can plate our stuff. So we have our cilantro lime rice on our plate here. We have our quesadilla all built, ready to go. I pulled out our onions here, pickled in lime juice. Now here's the trick to cutting a quesadilla. So we cut it in half, okay? So we go in half here, it's cut in half. Now here's a trick I learned in a restaurant, a chef I used to work for. So now you would not cut it in half, you go just slightly off center. What that's gonna do is keep that piece intact. So we go in half, just slightly off center on our next cut. So we're gonna cut that down. So now we're gonna do the same to this one. So just slightly off center here. Right, so we have our quesadillas cut. Now we're gonna put them onto the plate. So we put them out like this, okay? So we just kind of shingle them out, right? Now we have our onion escabeche. So we're gonna just put our onions on top here, pickled in lime juice. And you can, this pickled onions, the longer it sits, the better it gets. You can kind of see some of them are turning like a nice pink translucent there. That's what we want. So now we're gonna garnish with a little lime wedge. We're gonna clean our knife. Whenever you do clean a knife, never wipe it this way. You always wipe it this way. Cut it in half. All right, so here we go. We just kind of garnish with the lime and our cilantro and our onion escabeche. It's a whole wheat, healthy version of the quesadilla. Chicken breast from the Minami Food Distribution Warehouse, cooked in a guajillo tomatillo sauce with a cauliflower lime rice. Thank you very much, Kananian, and I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you at the next one. Oh, there's lunch bell, I gotta go. Don't get me struggling with this thing. All right, we're gonna start blending. No, we're not.